This phrase, it's very encapsulating of all three threads, like I tried to imagine, the three threads of the psychology, the thread of the myth, and the thread of the practice. Solve et coagula. What does solve sound like to you? Solve. Dissolve, which is exactly what it is. And what does coagula sound like to you? Coagulate, right? So this is actually the motto of the alchemical tradition, and the alchemical tradition is what Damien might say he represents, the magic of. From what I can tell, very simple reading, that the magical or the alchemical tradition comes out of the attempt to literally transform base metals through a process of depurifying them in order to reconfigure them so that they would create gold. And that is what it is on the physical level, but what it is spiritually or metaphorically is deconstructing something so that its essential ingredients can be reconstituted into something more powerful. And I think this is, it basically summarizes what's happening in the mandala, isn't it? The mandala is the crucible in which you put some material in and then it gets reconstituted. What goes into the mandala? Where do you start the journey on the mandala? You start as an ordinary. And then you go through a trial or a process which involves dying in order to be reborn. So there is no coagula without solve. There's no rebirth without dying. So any hero that wants to go the distance and claim the sword must first die. So any of you undergoing something, if you're in the midst of it right now, where you feel like you're in hell and you're being torn apart, I won't ask you to raise your hand, but I know you're there. Not only here, but there and everywhere. And in the future too, there will be people that find this somehow, and in the moment of this conversation, they're going to go, yes, that's me, I'm being devoured. I'm being desiccated. I'm on the rack of my life. I'm being torn to smithereens. And they think that that's going to be the end of it. And actually it's going to be the... And Christ said, I am the Alpha and the Omega. Isn't it wonderful? It's beautiful, isn't it? It's just beautiful, some of these teachings. What they're really saying. I am the end and I am the beginning. A snake that devours its tail. There is no transformation without this coming undone. In my client's description, he's in utter hell, but it is only when the edifice of his personality and his comfort structures buckle against the weight that the cracks are revealed, and the cracks are necessary for the emergence of the impressions from the collective unconscious that are alerting him of the opportunity. Do you follow? So no buckling, no cracks, no enemies that can be converted to allies, no alchemy, no gold. The same thing is true, solve et coagula is present in the monomyth, obviously. And it's definitely there. Jung was heavily influenced by this stuff. It's just all over the place. It's in his dreams, it's in his writings, it's in how he lived.